Someone You Should Know. A program about people you know and even more that you don't. Hosted by Stuart Sachs, veteran, husband, father, and grandfather. Now, here's your host, Stuart Sachs.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Someone You Should Know from our studios live and without limits here in Frisco, Texas. This morning is going to be a delicious show. And by that I mean if you follow my Facebook posts, if this is kind of actually I'm going to start off by saying this is kind of a good news and bad news story. The good news is I have Heidi Ackerman in the studio with me. Good morning, Heidi.
Good morning.
And Heidi is the owner and operator of iCream, which is I guess they have craft burgers and craft beer and all your craft ice cream.
Yes.
Basically, start from scratch. And we're going to tell you all about the process. The bad news is I've been living here for 6.5 years and I just discovered you. And
the important thing is you know now.
I apologize that, but I'm making up for lost time because every chance I have to go over there. The beauty of it is it's not like going to a burger shop where you got a choice of 5 different burgers, pick one, and how do you want your fries? You've got more choices. I would imagine probably the hardest thing is for your young lady who I usually see at the cashier at the front register. She's standing there waiting for people to make up their mind what they want. There are so many choices of what you can do with either ice cream, sorbet, or frozen yogurt. And now we're also going to talk about hot pudding. Folks, my taste buds are tingling right now just talking about it. But the other really interesting thing, and I think the people that are listening to this, not only in this area, but all over the country that are listening to this show, we're going to talk about this place called iCream, and there is only one. The only one in existence is right here in Frisco. And that just blows me away because the concept is so cool, and there are ice cream shops everywhere. But this is so different, so unique. And I welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's great, and I found out about you through your husband.
Yes,
because I joined an improv group here in Frisco with Bob Zach, and your husband Tom is the technical director basically of the show. And after we had a performance a couple weeks ago, he said, "Well, why don't you guys want to come over for some ice cream afterwards?" And we said, "Oh, where?" And he said, "Oh, my wife and I have iCream. Have you ever been there?" "No, where's iCream?" Duh. Man, you could have smacked me in the head with a baseball bat. And when we walked in, it was like first of all your eyes pop when you see the place. And folks, while we're talking about it, you can go online and go to iCream.com and look at some of I'm thinking about it already. The blenders with the nitrogen and it's like dry ice and the smoke and it's like a show while you're waiting to have your ice cream prepared. So my first question to you is, where did you and Tom get the idea for this particular kind of an ice cream shop?
Well, I saw the idea on Food Network. So I used to be a Food Network junkie. Now I don't have so much time. Clearly.
No, now one day you're going to be featured on Food Network, probably.
Well, I don't know about that. But they make ice cream on there occasionally with liquid nitrogen. And they do it on a much smaller scale, obviously. But I just thought that's the coolest thing ever. You can make ice cream in an instant, so you can make it however you want.
It's a process that the closest thing that I remember going back several years was these frozen marble slabs where they would take the ingredients and they would mix it all up while it was on this frozen marble slab, and it would make it cold. And that was kind of cool. But this process is actually faster.
It is.
The hardest thing, as I said at the top of the show, is trying to decide what to put in that little cup.
It usually takes people longer to decide what they want than it does for us to make it.
Yeah, it's because you have a step. You go through what is it, like four steps or something? Yeah.
You choose your treat. You choose a base. So if you don't want regular ice cream, you can get almond milk, coconut milk, soy milk, and sugar. We can do sugar-free in all of our flavors. So if you choose to not have sugar or aren't allowed to have sugar, like my dad, you can still get any of our flavors.
And that's the beauty. And then you decide if you want ice cream or you want frozen yogurt.
Or we have shakes, and we have sorbet.
That's my wife's favorite, is the shakes.
Yeah.
And you are smart too, because when you get a shake, you get a straw that you actually can suck through, without getting lockjaw. Can actually enjoy it, and she likes to put fruit in. And I should also let people know that are listening and say, "Oh well, I can't have ice cream." It's gluten free.
The flavors are all gluten free,
and there's options for the healthy and the unhealthy choices. Some, when you walk in the shop, you look on the wall and there are also a lot of pre-selected combinations. And all Tutti Frutti was one that I had.
Oh yeah,
and then I added a couple things to it. But otherwise, you go up and you pick out what your treat is first.
Yes, you tell us everything that you want, and we turn it into ice cream.
And then you choose your base. Again, that's the almond milk, coconut milk, lactose-free milk, soy milk, skim milk,
low carb,
or whole milk. That's even one of the choices.
Yeah.
And now you're okay. Now you're making your decisions. Then you have to decide on your toppings. And I think I'm looking here, and there's probably 30 to 40.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have 30 flavors and 40 toppings. So any combination, the possibilities are endless.
And folks, it's not one choice, because if you want, for instance, you want bubble gum and cinnamon. And maybe
that doesn't sound very good, but I could do that.
And coconut, red velvet. That's what we had last time. Was red velvet. Even you want to be healthy with your yogurt? How about green tea?
Mm-hmm.
so and then now you've made that choice. Then you go on to your toppings, and typically it's sprinkles or M&Ms and things like that, but you could put maraschino cherries. My grandson loves his gummy bears. Folks, you haven't lived until you've had a cup of ice cream and all that has all kinds of other stuff in it, but it's topped with gummy bears. When was the last time you actually chewed ice cream? But dark chocolate chips, semi-sweet, milk chocolate, and white chocolate chips. So it's, oh man. And then if you want to add some fruit on top of it or some nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read these 2 pages of all of these things, how on earth can you have space to store all of this stuff? And how often do you have to reorder?
Well,
obviously
we also don't have all the ice cream stocked. So we don't have freezers full of ice cream sitting in front of you.
That's true, because everything is just mixed.
Right.
And it's really the liquid nitrogen that takes the place of having to run freezers all the time.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So it works out. It's actually really a lot better because there's no food waste. We don't throw anything away. We make each one as it's ordered.
You cannot get fresher ice cream or yogurt or sorbet than you can, because once you make your choices, that's the first 5 minutes of your life, and it only takes another few minutes, and you have got a fresh treat. And I mean, that to me is worth an awful lot, because to go to the store and buy ice cream that was probably produced a week or so in advance and kept frozen, and it goes to the store sitting in the freezer, and it always has an expiration date, but by the time you take it home, I don't know about, well, I can't say I don't know about you. When I say I don't know about you, I'm talking about the audience. Sometimes you open up that canister of ice cream and it just doesn't have any flavor because it's been frozen for so long that it just kind of loses that flavor. You just don't know until you take that spoonful of eye cream to know what fresh ice cream or sorbet or frozen yogurt tastes like. I mean, it's like a party in your mouth. Just, how else can I say it? So you saw this on the Food Network.
Yes.
What were you doing at the time in your life when you were watching the Food Network?
Well, I worked for Frisco ISD Child Nutrition,
Okay.
and there's a lot of children with a lot of allergies, especially in Frisco. There's so many people.
Is peanuts still one of the primary?
It's a very big one, yes. So what we do is we make sure that we take extra precautions to keep those people safe so that they can actually come into my shop and get ice cream because they can't really go anywhere else.
Right. It's and especially in some of the other places where they're taking all the ingredients and they're mixing it in the same bowl. So while they may have wiped out the bowl, there may be some peanut residue, and it only takes a little bit for somebody to trigger an allergy.
Absolutely. So we make sure we use clean bowls and wash our hands and everything, so it's perfectly safe.
You got a great process too, which I want to talk about. But you had this nutritional background, which certainly helps when anybody walks in. My wife has a gluten issue, and so she generally just shies away from it. I just can't have anything in this shop. And Heidi said to her, "Yes, you can. Let me suggest this and this and this." And she loves the shakes, because she could put the fresh berries and things in it that are gluten-free and sugar-free if she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And she has an issue with preservatives. Well, you don't have to worry about preservatives because there really aren't any. Everything is so fresh that it didn't come from a package that's been sitting on your shelf or anybody else's shelf for any length of time.
Right. It's all fresh.
It's
all natural ingredients. Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. So you see this on the Food Network.
Uh-huh.
And what says to Heidi, "Hey, that's cool. I think that's what I want to do with the rest of my life"?
I don't know what it was, but as soon as I saw it, I hit record on that show, and I watched it and watched it and watched it a million times. And I told everybody I knew about it. I bugged the crap out of my husband for a couple of years till he finally gave in and said yes. And then I got to do all the boring stuff, like write a business plan and get financing and look for a building and a contractor and all that. So. And
we mentioning the building, she is located just north of Main Street and just on the east side of the tollway, in Frisco. It's in a strip center, but it's so good. It is so good. So, okay. All right. I digress. So the next step, you said you watched the program over 1 million times and you decided that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. You obviously, by watching the show, started to learn what the whole process was about. Now what do? You just don't go out and call up Eye Cream National and say, "Hey, I want to open up one of your shops." You've got to learn about the equipment and how it operates. How did you do that?
Well, there's some smart people out there that helped me with it. Chart Industries is one of them. Reed Barnhill, big shout out to him. He was the one who did all the installation for all of my equipment. Taught me a lot about it. Taught me how to fix it when it's broken.
That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. it's you can't have a delivery business if the truck doesn't start.
Yeah, exactly.
But did you go to was the concept or something like at a convention or something that showed what this? How did you find out about? Is eye cream a national concern, considering you're the only one in operation?
I mean, there's some other companies out there doing this similar.
Okay.
They maybe don't do exactly what I do as far as the base choices. I know there's nobody out there doing the low carb choices right now, and all the sugar free choices.
And that's huge because if you have a senior population and all that are diabetic, they may not even walk in the door of a shop like that because they don't know or they don't realize that they do have options.
Right. And there's a lot of people on the keto diet, so I get them in and get them some heavy cream and some cocoa powder and monk fruit, and they are happy.
I've had monk fruit. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got a lousy name, but it's a pretty good fruit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as far as the sugar-free angle, I think about my dad because he's diabetic and isn't supposed to have ice cream, but he loves ice cream. And if you go to Baskin-Robbins, they have one flavor, maybe, that's sugar-free.
Yeah, it's my wife. Sometimes there's a place that makes cupcakes, and all. They do make a gluten-free cupcake, but it is one flavor. It's a vanilla flavor with a gluten-free cream ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
But you want people that have a gluten allergy like to have choices.
Yeah, they want a little variety.
And again, your choices are limitless. I mean, my wife will probably steer clear of a lot of the really sweet stuff, but to have a choice of 5, 6, 7 different kinds of berries that you want to put into your yogurt or the sorbet, and I haven't had the sorbet yet. I'm going to try it because I'm just nuts about the ice cream and the yogurt. I've had both of those. This and another thing I want to say about this, folks. Don't go in because you've got big eyes and a huge appetite, because they come small, medium, and large, and a small size is really an adequate size.
It really is. Mm-hmm.
Especially when you put all the things in it that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So you do parties.
We do parties, yes. We do those before we open so that everyone gets to come.
Tell everybody your hours.
We open at noon every day.
Okay, and folks, that's 7 days a week. I feel so badly because my wife and I spent 40 years in the retail business, and for most of that we were open 7 days, and I know that can be but that's because you want to be successful. Mm-hmm. You do it for your customers.
Mm-hmm. I do, yeah.
So you open at 10 every day, and
noon.
You close at noon,
mm-hmm.
and you close
9, 10, or 11, just depends on the time of year.
Okay.
During the week, right now, we close at 9 during Sunday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, 10 o'clock.
We were there earlier in the week. It must have been 38, 40 degrees outside. We stood in line to get our ice cream. You have a good audience out there. You see a lot of the kids from Wakeland High School, because that's probably the closest
mm-hmm.
high school, and you see the kids come in, and they're smart too. They have healthy choices. It's just enough. Now, if I was to come in and order one to take home, and all, what is the shelf life of the freshly made ice cream? You say to try and eat it within the first day or so, or just?
Oh no, you could leave it in there for a while. My daughter's got some in her freezer in Tuscaloosa that she's had in there for a year, and it's just fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she goes in there and gets a little bite because she's not here.
That's right. She's got to ration it.
Mm-hmm,
so take a spoonful every day.
Yep. And her dog has a little container in there too, because we can make ice cream for your dog.
That was on my list. Because you have a screen inside that while you're standing and waiting in line, you can be entertained with all of the things. That's how I didn't realize that you did parties.
Mm-hmm.
You even cater.
I do.
You even go out and I would assume that anybody that had a process other than with liquid nitrogen could not really effectively go out and cater a something outside, because you've got to keep everything cold. You've got to have a mobile freezer.
Right.
This way you don't. You just take the liquid nitrogen. Mm-hmm. And there is a huge tank of nitrogen that's in the shop, and there's a glass wall between your people and the customers, and you watch the process. You see this the it's not a smoke, it's like a fog that comes out of the machines, and it's fascinating to watch it. Mark, Heidi, you don't know what's going on in my head right now. I stand there.
I do. That's where I was 10 years ago when I saw it on Food Network.
and recorded it and watched it a million times.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm just blown away that more people didn't pick up on the same concept, because
right? which
Yeah.
is fine. I'm fine with that, but
Yeah.
it's like, why doesn't everyone make their ice cream this way?
And you don't need a huge shop either. You've got a relatively small shop. It's laid out beautifully. There's plenty of places for people to eat inside. And I would imagine once we get into the warmer weather, people can go sit outside out in front and sit and enjoy.
We have a patio in the back too with tables.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I learn something every day. I didn't even know that. And that would be a good place to have little get-togethers for a group of people to come
Or bring
in.
your dog and sit on the patio.
Yeah. Oh. We got to pause for a break.
Okay.
And all, and I've got so many questions in my head. What I'm going to do is go through my Rolodex of questions and get them in some kind of an order. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about eye cream, what this process is of using liquid nitrogen to make the ice cream ice cold and fresh. And we'll be right back with Heidi Ackerman, who is someone you should know.
3, 2, 1. KVGIRadio.com.
Y'all have really just opened my bubble and just...
KVGI Radio brings you conversation and entertainment. Be sure to follow us on social media. Who streams the best talk shows? We do.
You're listening to KVGIRadio.com. Streaming live from the KVGI studios in Frisco, Texas. Live without limits.
Someone you should know. A program about people you know and even more that you don't. Hosted by Stuart Sachs, veteran, husband, father, and grandfather. Now, here's your host, Stuart Sachs.
And we always continue to talk during the break, and I'm getting more and more hungry all the time, and I'm looking at lists, sitting here with Heidi Ackerman, who is the owner and operator of Eye Cream here in Frisco. And again, the address isn't as important as the location. If you get off at Main Street in Frisco, take an immediate right along the east side of the Parkway, and it's probably 100 yards. 100 yards north of Main Street. Just look over to the right. You'll probably recognize the place because there's usually a line out the door waiting for me to get in for their ice cream. But I'm going over a list of the toppings and everything again. And folks, I said sometimes people stand there for a while trying to decide what they want. So once you decide whether you want ice cream or you want frozen yogurt or you want sorbet, and then you decide what flavor that you want to put on it, and then you want some of the toppings, then you can also add fresh fruit, which is sensible, right? You can do bananas or blackberries or blueberries or raspberries, but then you have almonds and pecans and walnuts, unless you have a nut allergy. But then you can you can put peanut butter, sugar-free peanut butter, Nutella, and even cream cheese you can mix on top of that. And then add a little caramel sauce or chocolate sauce or peppermint or white chocolate sauce. There, what you have to do is, if you're going to put a lot of toppings, tell them to just go a little bit easy on the ice cream or the yogurt so that you got room in the cup for all that other stuff. But for those that are saying, yeah, that's fine for the young people or for all those other people, you have sugar-free options.
Yes.
You have dairy-free options, vegan, low-carb, gluten-free, keto. For every flavor that you offer, you can do it that way.
Yes.
That's why I say that this is like no other ice cream shop you could ever visit, because you just have so many options, and especially if you have some kind of dietary or restrictions, you can walk in and Heidi and her staff, that's one thing I will give you great marks for, is your staff is very, very well trained.
They are. Thank you. I appreciate that.
In knowing all of that, and that's important because it only takes a little bit of a slip with somebody who has some kind of an allergy, but they're real good about asking. When my wife says that she has a gluten allergy, they ask her questions, not just waiting for, make the choices, and if you slip up, it's your problem. They want to know.
We take it very seriously.
Is this an allergy, or is it for one reason? Because in my wife's case, it is not so much a dietary problem. She has migraines, and preservatives and gluten and all are the triggers, and so she has to watch those ingredients. But what the beauty is, she has always been a vanilla yogurt with maybe a sliced banana and strawberry on it. Now she's got a whole new world of options open to her, and she can do things with her ice cream or whatever. Next thing, you also have an option, in addition to the ice cream, the frozen yogurt, and the sorbet, of hot pudding. Tell the audience a little bit about the concept of the hot pudding and what they can do with the hot pudding, because they got choices there too.
They do. You can get hot pudding in any of our flavors, so 30 different flavors, and not just chocolate.
It ain't your chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry anymore.
Right. So hot pudding is like a cook and serve kind of pudding that our moms and grandmothers used to make on the top of the stove. So it's same idea, but we do it a lot faster and in 30 different flavors.
And then you can
so good.
Yeah, and
I think my husband made you some hot pudding, didn't he? He had one of the kids make
he
you
made
pudding.
hot pudding with Snickers in it. So it was the hot pudding, and then the chocolate on the Snickers started to melt a little bit, and then you had the caramel and the nuts and all. And I mean, you look at some of these creations and you say, how can they do that? I never knew that you could do that. It's incredible.
He sends people in, and he had sent a lady from work in, and she said, I was told to come in and order your favorite kind of pudding, as in my favorite pudding. So it's caramel and cake with Snickers in it, is what I think he probably made you too.
Yeah, it was Okay. Now comes now comes the kicker, because and I put it in my little Facebook post, and I said, "Wait till you hear about the nitro cheese balls."
Yes.
That's what I call them. I think you have a different name for it, but this is fun, and this is something that I urge you, if you go in, place an order for these, but do not tell the people that are with you what it's all about. Have it brought to the table and have them just put it in their mouth and tell us the process of what this is.
So you can use different things, but we use the little round cheese puffs, and you put them in liquid nitrogen for a couple of minutes, and they get super cold. And when you eat them, you look like a dragon because you're breathing smoke out of your mouth.
Yeah, out of your
it's
mouth
just
and
a
your
cheese
nose.
puff. Yeah, but it's just a cheese puff. It's perfectly safe.
Yeah, but it's hysterical. And when we were there last time, we brought some friends in the other night, and they have a 15-year-old daughter. And I said, I'm going to order something special that I want you to try, but before you even try it, I want Mom and Dad to put their phones on. And don't put it on photo, put it on video. And she didn't understand what it was all about. And it's hysterical. It's so much fun to just, they are just highly frozen cheese puffs. And when you bite into them, is the name
It's Dragon's Breath.
Dragon's Breath.
Mm-hmm.
It's hysterical. It is. It's something that you want to take, and then you want to share it on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
With all your friends.
We do a lot of field trips with like Kids Are Kids type places, and they'll bring 40 kids in and get ice cream, and then we give them all Dragon's Breath. So imagine seeing 46-year-olds doing Dragon's Breath at the same time, and they giggle, and it's so fun.
So that is something that you can travel with.
Well, they come to the shop for a field trip.
Okay.
I can bring it to you too. Yeah, same as the ice cream.
Because it's fresh, and I will tell you that you have to eat those right away, because
if they warm up, then they don't work.
Yeah,
you want them to be cold.
But it is the greatest little fun item for anybody. This is not just a kids thing, for adults. And if you've got elderly parents or something, as long as they don't have an allergy to cheese puffs, it's a fun thing to do. It's a fun thing to do. Again, we know if people have questions, they can call you, or is the best thing to just go online?
Either way, I'm always happy to take any phone calls, but there's a lot of information on my website too. It's iCreamFrisco.com.
Okay, iCreamFrisco.com. I said iCream.com before. So it's iCreamFrisco.com. And it's a great place to go, because that's where you'll see this list of all of these ingredients, so that instead of going and standing in line and holding up 40 other people from placing their orders, you can kind of predetermine what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people, come up with like 3 or 4 different ideas and all, and then you can go back 3 or 4 times and try something different. The ones up on the wall that you have already, the Tutti Frutti and I can't remember some of the others. Some are very basic, like with the berries, and some of them are insane with all the different sprinkles and additions that you can put in. But by having endless choices, it means don't go in and order a cup of vanilla yogurt and that's it. Don't do it. Even though you may have done that at any of the other ice cream places and put it in a stupid little cone or something, get a cup and put in some fun things, because your taste buds come alive. And that is because it wasn't prepackaged. It's because it's all fresh.
There are a lot of people who just prefer vanilla, though. Shaquille O'Neal, big fan of the vanilla. When he came in, he got vanilla.
I was going to say you have served some pretty big people, and that is probably one of the biggest people. How did Shaquille O'Neal find you?
He just did. I don't know.
You didn't know that he was coming.
I didn't know. I actually wasn't even there when he got there. I came in just as he was ordering. I was at a band concert for my son and came in the back door, and I was like, looking up at the ceiling at his head.
There's something touching the ceiling in my shop. And you've got a photo up on the wall of Shaquille O'Neal with your staff. And That's a good endorsement.
Yeah, yeah. Nice
As,
guy.
as they say, it doesn't get much bigger than that. To have Shaquille O'Neal endorse your product. But by the way, do you remember what he ordered?
Straight up vanilla.
Really?
Yep.
That's it? Just vanilla? Was it
Just
the
vanilla.
ice cream or the yogurt?
Ice cream.
Ice
Large
cream.
vanilla ice cream. Yep, that's what he likes.
Holy cow. Well, my wife had I think strawberries and blueberries on her last one. And when somebody, and we've been married 45 years, when she tastes something and goes, it's because, it's hard to imagine what blueberries and strawberries really fresh taste like in a fresh cup of yogurt. She had the frozen yogurt. And I was surprised because I tried it too. And again, if you order packaged strawberry ice cream and it's got strawberries in it, first of all, the strawberries are crunchy because they're frozen, and they have no flavor.
They don't.
The blueberry, any bananas, whatever kind of fresh fruit that you want to put on, even if you put it on top, this is mixed in and frozen instantly with the nitrogen. And you can see a picture of that online too. It shows you the process. These great big professional blenders, that they infuse with the liquid nitrogen in order to freeze it instantly. It just does not get any fresher than eye cream.
And if you're on our website, you can go to our parties tab too and kind of learn about our birthday parties. You get to come behind the counter and make your own.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you have a private party, you get to come back with me and make it yourself.
Oh, Lauren, my birthday's coming up in December. Okay, maybe I'll have my birthday party over at Eye Cream. I think that would be pretty cool.
I can do cocktails too. I can bring
What?
everything and do cocktails at your house, or you can come in and do after hours party.
Oh, my goodness.
Frozen
You're
liquid
crazy.
nitrogen.
You know that?
Yeah,
You
a
are
little
crazy.
bit, sometimes.
like you have no limits, do you? Just like KVGI, live without limits. That's what you are, 7 days a week at Eye Cream. Just, and if somebody was to come in and say, or has anybody come in and said,